The Economic Community of West African States was born of a noble dream. It was a vision woven with threads of unity, a promise of shared peace. Leaders spoke of a future where prosperity would flow like a great river through the region. For many years, this dream held a potent magic. It offered hope to millions, a belief that together, West African nations could overcome the bitter legacies of their past. The bloc was seen as a shield against external pressures, a forum for resolving disputes. The free movement of people, the idea of common markets, these were not just policies, they were articles of faith. Yet as the seasons turned, the mat of unity began to show signs of wear. Old suspicions, like stubborn weeds, pushed through the cracks. The grand pronouncements of solidarity often masked deeper, unresolved tensions. The challenges of governance, equitable development, and security began to test the very foundations of the bloc. The initial vibrancy of the dream started to dim under the harsh glare of complex realities. The stage was being set for a rupture that would shake the very soul of West Africa. Then came the day the drums of defiance thundered across the Sahel. In late January of this year, 2025, the news struck like a sudden storm. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger announced their immediate withdrawal from ECOWAS. This was not merely a political maneuver, it was an earthquake, sending tremors of shock and disbelief throughout the continent. The carefully woven fabric of West African unity had been torn. This momentous decision was not born of a sudden impulse. It was the culmination of a year of escalating tensions, a slow burn of grievances that had finally ignited. The final announcement in January 2025 confirmed that the chasm had become too wide to bridge. The path of separation, once unthinkable, was now irrevocably chosen. It was a cry for sovereignty, a declaration that they would no longer be party to an organization they felt had betrayed its founding principles. The news of the Sahel's departure compelled the remaining ECOWAS leaders to gather. An emergency meeting was hastily convened in Accra, the capital of Ghana. The atmosphere was thick with anxiety and urgency. They faced a political crisis and an existential threat. The empty seats of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger spoke volumes. This summit underscored ECOWAS's diminishing authority. Section 4. Cracks in the Calabash. Why the Sahel spurned ECOWAS. The seeds of discontent that led to this dramatic exit were sown over several years. ECOWAS's handling of the coup in Niger in July 2023 became a critical turning point. The bloc responded with severe sanctions, crippling an already fragile economy. The heavy sanctions imposed on Niger did not achieve their intended political aims. Instead, they inflicted immense suffering on ordinary citizens, exacerbating economic hardship and fueling popular resentment against ECOWAS. Furthermore, there was a widespread perception that ECOWAS had been largely ineffective in tackling the primary existential threat facing the Sahel states' terrorism and violent extremism. They felt they received condemnations of their internal political changes, while the security crisis continued to fester, largely unaddressed by meaningful ECOWAS intervention. Section 5. The Puppeteer's Gaze. Western Shadows on ECOWAS. Sahelian states left ECOWAS, accusing undue Western influence, especially from France. They believed ECOWAS was no longer autonomous. The military governments saw ECOWAS's actions as Western interference. French troops were asked to leave, symbolizing a broader struggle for autonomy. Section 6. Forging New Spears. The Sahel Alliance and its vision. In the wake of their growing disillusionment with ECOWAS, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger did not wait to be isolated. On September 16, 2023, these three nations officially established the Alliance of Sahel States, or AES. Initially conceived as a collective defense pact, the AES signaled their determination to take their security into their own hands. The primary vision of the AES is centered on robust security cooperation and mutual defense. The Liptako-Gourma Charter, which established the alliance, emphasizes solidarity against armed rebellions and any aggression threatening the territorial integrity and sovereignty of its member states. Beyond security, the AES harbors ambitions for greater political and economic autonomy. The alliance aims to foster a new model of regional integration, one built upon the bedrock of national sovereignty and shared strategic interests. The vision is one of self-reliance, where the Sahelian states can collectively bargain and build a future tailored to their unique circumstances. Concrete initiatives are already underway to translate this vision into reality. Section 7. The Crossroads. African self-determination, regional realignment, and the future. The emergence of the Alliance of Sahel States marks a pivotal moment for African self-determination. This move signifies a desire to reduce dependency on former colonial powers. It asserts their right to define their own priorities and partners. This quest for sovereignty is reshaping the Sahel and beyond, reflecting a trend towards issue-based regional cooperation. Alliances are forged around specific concerns, with security taking precedence. The AES was born out of the shared threat of terrorism. However, this path towards autonomy faces economic challenges. Landlocked AES countries risk increased economic isolation. Withdrawal from ECOWAS could complicate trade and financial transactions. Economic resilience will test the AES's long-term viability. The old order is changing, and the new is being forged in present crises. Not with permission, not with applause, but with purpose. What broke in Accra wasn't just trust, it was illusion. And what's rising from its ashes isn't chaos, it's clarity. This is Insight Africa, where the continent speaks for itself.